In the last year before I stopped drinking alcohol, my health was just deteriorating badly. Not just my physical health, but my mental health as well. There were times when I was having difficulty climbing up the stairs because whatever my lifestyle was doing to my body, my knees were hurting, my side was hurting. I definitely couldn't stand on a chair, get up onto a chair to fix a light bulb or something like that. I had to get a little ladder to do it, which was, as a 46-year-old man, that's, I look at myself now, I'm 60 next year, and it's just, I feel completely different. And it was the idea, even though I was thinking, and my mind was constantly going onto the idea of moderation. And, if only I could make moderation stick, if only I could cut down on the amount of alcohol that I was drinking, that everything else would be okay. And it was fear that was driving that narrative. It was fear of, what the fuck am I going to do without alcohol in my life? How am I going to survive without having alcohol to relax, and being able to go out and unwind with alcohol, to socialize with alcohol? All those things that had been programmed into my head, that all natural parts of life, all natural parts of how we interact with other people, other situations, without alcohol. We don't need any of that kind of stuff. So, but my mind, because it was, because I had all this fear there, it just couldn't get outside of that box. I couldn't get outside of my own shadow on this. So, but there was a small part of me which always said, you're not curious about this. You're not curious about what your life would be like without alcohol. If you, not even that, it's like it was not associated with alcohol. It was more, are you not curious about what your life would be like if you could go out and be with other people without drinking, that you could be, you could show your true face. You could show, you could really relax and enjoy yourself and do things without alcohol. Imagine all the money that you could save. So only a small part of my brain was thinking about that. But I think once I determined that I was getting on that path and I wasn't going back to my old way of thinking, once I committed to that path, then your mind starts to forge a different way of thinking, in terms of, it starts to really develop a hatred towards the alcohol, to the old behaviors, to the old things, to the old ways of doing things, and it starts to develop the pathway moving forwards. That pathway already starts to unfold in front of you, right? You start to look at things in a different way. A good example of this is we're moving to Spain, and I love Andorra. What's not to love about this place up here? But there's certain aspects of it that I don't like, and I never liked. But when you're living here and you're committed to living here, then you kind of put those to the background, and you say to yourself, well, yeah, it doesn't matter because, and there's an excuse, or there's a reason why that doesn't matter, and this other thing because this doesn't matter, But once we decided then that we have to leave here, because basically the reason why we're moving is because we can't afford a house here. We want to buy a house, and it's just so expensive here. And it's not just the expense here, but we know that moving now to Spain, we know the contrast, and we know that we can afford something twice, 3 times what we have now. Not saying that size matters, but having that space to do the things that you want to do, has an impact. For literally 1/10 of the price to what we can buy it up here for. And once you understand that contrast, once you make those comparisons, then it becomes a no-brainer. And like I said earlier on, I'm 60 coming up next year, so I need not security for myself, but security for S, so that if anything does happen to me, that there's a bit of there's something there, that you shouldn't have to pay the rent and shouldn't have to pay the mortgage, that we have something there, outright. But anyway, different story. So your mind starts to go onto this. You start to see the benefits then of the thing that you were trying to get out of your mind earlier on. So we moved from Spain and we're kind of going to ourselves, well, yeah, the heat down there is shit, and the tax down there is so high, and blah, 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 all those things. Now we're reversing that, and it's all coming full 360. We're going back, and now we're doing the opposite way around. That, yeah, we don't need to, tax doesn't really matter because, we're cutting back on the amount of stuff that we're doing, and anyway, so on and so forth. But the idea is, and this can apply to failure as well, is to ask yourself, if you haven't stopped drinking alcohol yet, and you're not curious about what your life can look like, I'm 13 years into this, this is my 14th year, and my life is completely and absolutely different to what it was, and all because my thinking is completely and absolutely different to what it was. The way that I think about so many different things in my life has changed, but it doesn't change overnight. It's an unfolding process, and it happens over many years. For me, 13 to be exact. But also, if you ever, once you step across that line and you commit to the new path, then say it to yourself. It should be a constant reminder whenever you feel the temptation coming up. Am I not curious about what would happen if I continue on this road? If I continue down this road, what's going to happen if you go back. I mean, it's just more of the same, more of the same focus, more of the same destruction. So you understand that, but people don't know what's going to happen. There's part of the fear in this life is moving away from that. So it's just an idea to have to keep in your mind, to both get you on that path and to keep you on that path. All right, take care of yourself, and if you want any help, habitsv2.com is the website. We've got one-on-one coaching over there. We've got a program that will take you to a year alcohol-free, but not in terms of just helping you to stop drinking alcohol, but for getting to that place where you just don't give a fuck about alcohol anymore. There is no situation where you would ever think about drinking alcohol again. That's the mentality that we want to get to, and we usually get there in 6 or 7 months. So the year is just a great milestone, learn a few more things. So we've got the one-on-one coaching, the courses, and that program. All right, take care of yourself. Speak to you soon. Onwards and upwards. Bye now.